everyone, it's Cuddleofdeath and we're back with another episode of Pokemon Colosseum. In the last episode we first stepped foot on Mount Battle where we found out that Team Snag'em was causing more trouble, of course, and now we're trying to get to the bottom of who's at the top of this. So that's exactly what we're doing. We left off at trainer number 6, but in the last episode I also asked you guys if you would like for me to cut out the battles. The majority of you voted up the comment that said yes, cut out the battles that aren't important, of course, and I will be doing that. So I can't know how you actually feel about me doing that unless you leave any more comments, so just always leave me comments and keep me updated. So for now I'm cutting out the unimportant battles, which this is one of the first ones that I'm cutting out. But I will see you guys in just a second. Okay, so we're back in front of the important battle with this ginger guy. And he's talking to the area leader, knocks him down. He's a really mean guy, he's really tall, he's very burly. He's just an overall jerk. But like Mirror B, he's a total reject because he's a red-haired Sasquatch in like a white jumpsuit with some kind of loincloth, it looks like. So, Master Dakim, I was going to call him Grandmaster Dakim, or you can just say Cipher Admin Dakim, but it sounds more hardcore if you say Master Dakim. Okay, so Cipher Admin Dakim is actually an annoying fight, and you'll see exactly why in a minute. He usually either starts off with a Metang and a Golem, or a Metang and, what is this other Pokemon? He can start off with anything other than Golem, but normally he starts out with Metang and Golem. Okay, so basically this fight's super annoying because one of the Pokemon will always protect while the other uses the move Earthquake. So I would highly suggest playing defensively, which is what I'm doing here by putting up a Reflect. And so here we go. I think it's nice, you know, also to bring a Shadow Pokemon that's in Hyper Mode just for the critical hits, which if you have the Hitmontop, then you're definitely going to deal a lot of damage. So of course there's the Earthquake, and it did nothing because Reflect was up, which is exactly why I suggested, especially if you're a little under-leveled or even near my level, you could possibly be more leveled. Also, another thing about this fight is I would definitely suggest either bringing a Plusle if you trained it up, or if you manage to almost completely open up the heart of your Slugma or your Skiploom at all. Slugma knows Yawn, and Skiploom knows Sleep Powder. Skiploom can be really bad at times if you let his Shadow Pokemon not use up the PP on its main move, which is Fire Blast, which can kill it. But generally it can resist the little Shadow moves that his Shadow Pokemon does. But, I'm trying to think here. I found that after beating this game a few times, Skiploom seems to do better, for me at least, from my experience, with his Shadow Pokemon because of Sleep Powder. There's something about Paralysis that just hasn't been as good to me as Sleep Powder has in terms of capturing it. Also, if you're on this part, you should definitely bring Great Balls or Ultra Balls if you don't care what ball you capture this Shadow Pokemon in, or any Shadow Pokemon. But unfortunately, I actually care which one I capture them in, and I only like to capture Pokemon in Pokeballs or Premier Balls. That's just because they're harder and it gives me more of a feel of like I achieved something. I know it's kind of funny achieving something with Pokemon, but I feel more like I achieved something if I capture them in a Premier Ball or a Pokeball. So, his two easier Pokemon are actually Camerupt and Marshtomp. They are very easy to go down, and you just don't have to worry about them as much. Marshtomp does have some very annoying moves like Muddy Water and stuff that can lower your accuracy, whereas Camerupt comes with Protect, Earthquake, Flamethrower, and another random move that he never uses. So here's Dakim's Shadow Pokemon, Entei. So you will definitely be happy whenever I ask you guys a question later in the video, and I can't wait until you answer it. It's going to be really cool, and I'm really looking forward to your answers, but I'm not going to ask it quite yet. So we just need to get rid of this Camerupt so we can have Entei all to ourselves and be able to capture it, but I actually have to do some healing here, which is normal. So again, if you're around my level or under level or having any kind of problems, bring some potions. Super Potions and Hyper Potions work very well here depending on what level of Pokemon you bring, who you send out first, and a bunch of other bunch of other things, a bunch of other causes. But the thing that you really need to know is how he starts off. It's always with his Metang starting off with an earthquake. It's not the other Pokemon, it's his Metang. And then from there it just goes back and forth. So, in this particular try or attempt at capturing this Entei, I'm going to be using my Plusle. Just to see if it's going to be any good, just because I'm so scared to bring out my Skiploom. And Psybeam isn't always the greatest move. It does a decent amount of damage to this Entei. I know it's not like half damage or anything, but he did get confused, which could backfire on you in the long run, because Entei is actually kind of hard to capture. So here's this Fire Blast, which almost kills my poor little Plusle. And we're just going to try to dwindle him down a little more and get a Thunder Wave off to try to capture him. Okay, so Yellow is always great, but unfortunately he's only using Shadow Rush, and he's confused now, so he's constantly got an even higher chance of killing himself slowly but surely. And see, he just keeps dwindling himself down. And I underestimated the speed of my Plusle here, but that's okay. I mean, for some reason, usually I thought my Plusle would have been faster. And most of the time it is, because I've done this a few times before in past games. Okay, so I will be back whenever I capture this Entei for you guys, because I'm sure you don't want to see how long it's going to take, because it's probably going to take more than one try. Especially with his health being this low and he's confused. So I'm just healing, but I'll be back. We're back, and I did have to come back with a different team. In fact, I used my Skiploom, which is why he's asleep, and here's the capture in a nice little Premier Ball. So that's done and over with, and because it was a different round here with a different team, the Metang was sleeping already and not dead like in the previous edit, I should say. So now he's finally done and over with, and that's a really difficult fight, especially if you want to use Pokeballs or Premier Balls. Alrighty, so we defeated Cipher Admin Ginger, or Dakim. Gah, you meddlesome pests. Okay, he gives us lots of money, and then has a bunch of stuff to say. The way you handle those Pokemon with their audacious skills. Who are you? Okay, so here's Scrub and the peon that we defeated earlier. Master Dakim. Ah, Scrub, you were hopelessly outclassed against him. You had zero chance. Of course you did. I'm pulling out now. And then they're leaving back to the Snag'em hideout. This isn't over yet. You'd better get serious about training your Pokemon for our next meeting. Uh-oh. And again, if you want to read the text, just go back. I'm paraphrasing. So, we're gonna pick up this shiny thing here first, instead of helping the guy on the ground, because we're more distracted by shiny things. Which is really mean, by the way. Don't do that in real life. That's really mean. Ow, that wasn't an experience I'd ever want to have again. I'm glad you came to my rescue. Thank you. I'm Vander, an area leader here at Mount Battle. I'm Ginger, and this is Chris. We're glad to see you. Yeah, we're glad to see you not on the floor anymore. What you told me explains a lot. Thanks to you. I'm safe. No, just kidding. That's not what he said. So he's talking about the invisible time flute that he supposedly has in his hand, which I definitely don't see it at all. So now, back at the front, and he wants us to have the time flute, and he gives it to us. Ginger's all shocked and says, "Are you certain?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm for real. Don't worry about it. You saved me. I have no use for it." So I'm going to change my Pokemon here and do this quick edit, because you guys don't want to see how boring that would be. And we're going to get this item here now, which is also after the edit, obviously. TM47, which is Steel Wing. Yes. Alrighty. So now we're heading back to Agate Village to check on Ginger's grandparents, because I'm sure they're going to wonder about us and how our voyage at Mount Battle has gone. Okay. Back in Agate Village with the old creepy guys. This old creepy guy says, "Oh Ginger, I heard there was a big commotion on Mount Battle. Egan's worried sick about you. Quick, hurry home, because he cares so much." No, actually, you know, that's cool that they care. But unfortunately for poor little Chris, his freaking grandparents don't seem to care about him. Alright, so... Ginger and Chris, it's good to see you back. So how goes it? Have you trounced the cretins that raided Mount Battle? I expected nothing less than my own granddaughter. And you too, Chris. I'm just kidding. We barely get acknowledged ever. So we need to go back to Relic Forest and see if Celebi will help us out. And now Egan just gave us his PDA number because he's a PEDO. No, I'm just kidding. But we're gonna go to Relic Forest and purify some Pokemon because we could definitely use purification and finally break the bond. Not the bond, but the evil, shadowy trance that our poor little Pokemon friends are stuck in. So fortunately for us, there's no Team Snag'em members here, and we can just go straight to Relic Forest. Okay, so now if you talk to this Relic, that's kind of funny, I don't know why you talk to it, after we get this Ian file, which we're not going to read, we're just going to talk to this Relic, it'll actually say something different now. There's a Pokemon that may open the door to its heart. So we can finally purify our Pokemon, and I'm going with Quilava first. Of course, I'm not going to purify every single Pokemon that's in my party or my box right now because that would be really boring for you guys, so I'm going to do that off screen. I just wanted to show you what it'd be like. So, whenever you purify a Pokemon, it gains all of the experience it would have gained while it was in battle back, and also regains its move that was covered up by Shadow Slam. I like calling it Shadow Slam, or just like random shadow names. Give me a different name to call it by instead of Shadow Rush. Shadow Pone or something. Something not so lame like that. So now we're actually trying the Time Flute out on Entei because we can, and I don't want to save it for later. And here's Celebi. Unfortunately, we don't get to keep it, but it's now opening up the heart of our Entei, which, by the way, you guys are going to be doing something very special for me if you want to. It's optional, of course. And I would definitely love to see your participation in what I'm about to ask. So, here's a ribbon, and here we are nicknaming the Entei. But we're not nicknaming it quite yet. The question that I had for you guys is, what would you nickname my Entei? The most thumbed up comment will be the name of my Entei in the next episode, and I hope you guys really post some creative names because I'd really like them. But I will see you guys in the next episode. Please be appropriate with your names. I will not accept inappropriate names. And thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and first we're actually going to talk to this fidgety guy outside before we end. Okay, so those crooks must be after Vander's Time Flute. Basically, he just wastes your time talking about the Time Flute, but that's it for now. See you guys later. Bye!